Diet ads are everywhere, and your social media feed is likely plagued with weight loss programs, fat burning supplements, before and after photos. The start of the new year is right around the corner, and this usually leads to people setting New Year's resolutions, usually ones that are rooted in losing weight. But I am going to go out on a limb here and challenge you to not set a goal that is related to shrinking your body this year. In fact, you don't have to even set a resolution at all. That said, if you do enjoy a fresh start and goal setting, tune in to the rest of this video where I am going to share my 5 non-diet resolutions that will not leave you feeling guilty in February. I first want to talk about why most New Year's resolutions tend to fail. So many resolutions involve losing weight, eating healthier, doing more exercise. And while these goals aren't inherently a bad thing, they tend to be very rigid and black and white. And this means that you either succeed or you fail at your resolution. But when it comes to your health and your body, it's not that simple. Your health isn't pass fail. Resolutioners also tend to have that all or nothing mindset when it comes to picking out their goals in January. Many say things like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym every single day before work starting on January 1st. Or something along the lines of, I'm not gonna eat dessert at all this year. I know I was there setting goals to not eat sugar for an entire year, and you can probably guess how that ended up. The extreme nature of these resolutions is just setting them up to be broken. This leaves you beating yourself up for not having enough willpower or motivation, when in reality, the goals just weren't realistic to begin with. I also want to remind you of the simple fact that diets don't work. And with weight loss goals is going to come some form of restrictive dieting. This might look like extreme fad diets where you say, I'm not going to touch a carb all year. Or it might be more sneaky diets like intermittent fasting or calorie counting, which are both super popular right now. These types of diets tend to hide under the guise of a healthy lifestyle, but they're just going to lead to the same outcome of any other diet. Regardless of the approach, a majority of diets do not work in the long term. Sure, they may lead to short-term weight loss, but most dieters tend to regain back the weight they lost and then some. And this is not just a New Year's thing. Diets don't work on any day of the year. If you have dieted in the past and have failed, this is not a character flaw on your part. The diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry that is set up for you to fail, so you try diet after diet. If diets worked, this industry just wouldn't even exist. One last thing before we get into my 5 non-diet resolutions, I want to remind you that you don't need to set resolutions. A large chunk of people, probably a lot of you watching this, are planning to jot down your goals on January 1st. I know that I have been one to set resolutions myself in the past. This is largely because January 1st feels like a fresh start, a blank slate. But the thing is, it's really just another day of the week. There's nothing special about it. More importantly though, I want to point out that you are not a project that needs to be constantly worked on all the time. While it is totally fine to set self-improvement goals and want to better yourself, it is critical that you care and respect for the current version of yourself as well. You cannot hate yourself into a different person. You especially cannot hate yourself into a better person. That is never going to be sustainable. If you do find it fun though to set goals and resolutions, I want to remind you that you can set ones that have nothing to do with your body or your health. Being healthier or thinner, which are not one and the same by the way, does not make you more worthy of love, care, and respect. Not to mention that your health and your body size are not completely in your own hands. So again, while it can be fine to want to better those areas of yourself, it's never going to be helpful to put too much pressure there and have that all or nothing thinking. So instead of setting resolutions that have to do with shrinking your body, without further ado, I'm going to share my 5 non-diet resolutions. These are just a few examples, and I challenge you to jot down any that resonate with you. The first one is to explore new forms of joyful movement. Rather than using exercise as a punishment or a means of quick weight loss. Set a goal to try different types of movement and see what makes you feel the best. Try hiking for the first time. Take a Zumba class. When you shift your focus to how exercise makes you feel, movement will seem a lot less like a chore and something that you actually want to be doing. My second non-diet resolution is to read more. This is actually one of my own personal resolutions this year. In fact, I have already started on it prior to January 1st. Because like I said, there is nothing special about waiting until the new year. I personally am planning to read a lot more fiction books and read for pleasure as a hobby. But if you are working on improving your relationship with food, there are tons of amazing anti-diet books out there. I'll link some down below in the description if you want to learn more. My third non-diet resolution that you might try is to challenge your food fears. If you've been dieting for a long time, you probably have a whole laundry list of foods that you avoid, or if you do eat them, you feel super guilty about it. One of the most critical parts of recovering from disordered eating is making peace with food. And the only way to completely do this is to eat the foods that you have deemed off limits. You cannot learn to swim without getting in the water. It is important to start slow with this one. It's not gonna feel good to go to the store, buy all your fear foods, and try eating them all in one day. Choose one new food at a time, and you likely will need to repeat your exposure to it over and over again. If you want to learn more about this process of making peace with food, I'll link a video right here for you to check out. My fourth resolution is to ditch the scale. I know, this one is super tough, but the truth is the number on the scale doesn't really matter that much. And weighing yourself is probably doing more harm than good. You might think that it is keeping you on track, but it's likely just really making you second guess what your body is trying to tell you that it wants and needs. So smash that scale with the hammer, throw it off the balcony, and make sure you pick up your pieces because littering is not cool. It's gonna feel so liberating to take that power back from the scale. And finally, my fifth non-diet resolution is to do a social media detox. While there are so many social media accounts out there that are promoting a positive relationship with food, not to toot my own horn, but there is also unfortunately an endless supply of diet culture messaging on social media. Seeing all these posts that are idealizing thin bodies and restrictive eating is going to be the opposite of helpful on your healing journey. So while I don't recommend juice cleanses or liver cleanse supplements, the one type of detox that I do recommend is a social media detox. Go through your social media following and unfollow those who are not serving you. Follow creators that look different than you, ones of different shapes and sizes, ethnicities, and races. If you're anything like me, you will have a very long block list, and that's okay. I would love to hear in the comments below what your non-diet resolutions are for this year. Setting weight loss goals is so last year. If you do decide to set resolutions for this upcoming year, choose flexible intentions rather than goals that are either pass-fail. You do not need to choose any resolutions at all, but if you are going to, if you find it fun and enjoyable, I challenge you to choose ones that are not revolved around shrinking your body. All right, friends, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe so you always know when I'm posting new videos like this one. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned for 2024, and I can't wait for you to be along for the ride. I'll see you next year.